Do you see this rich man with his servant? The name of the rich man is Job. He lives in the land of Uz. The Bible tells us something very special about Job. I read that he is blameless and upright. He fears God and he doesn't like evil things. Can people say the same about you? Job has 7 sons and 3 daughters. He is really rich. Do you want to know how many animals he has? He owns 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys. Now you can imagine he needs a lot of servants to help him to take care of all these animals. He is the greatest man among all the people of the East in his days. The children of Job grow up nicely. When his sons are adults, they live in their own homes. When they have their birthdays, they will invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. Every time after such a feast, Job asks his children to come to him. He makes arrangements for them to be purified. Early in the morning, he sacrifices a burnt offering for each of them, thinking, perhaps my children have sinned and don't love God any longer. Do you see how Job loves his children and how he loves God? One day Satan presents himself before the Lord in heaven. The Lord says to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answers, "From roaming throughout the earth." Then the Lord says, "Have you seen my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He loves me so much." "Yes, of course Job loves you," replies Satan. "You have given him so much wealth. But when you will take everything away from him, for sure he will not love you any longer." The Lord says, "Very well then, everything he has in your power. But do not do anything with Job himself." Then Satan goes out from the presence of the Lord. Satan is so bad. He really wants to harm us. One day, when Job's children are feasting at the oldest brother's house, a messenger comes to Job and says, "The oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby. Then suddenly people came to steal them all. They killed the servants. I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." While this servant is still speaking, another messenger comes and says, "Fire came from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants. I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." Then another messenger comes. He says, "All your camels are stolen. Your servants are killed. I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." While he is still speaking, yet another messenger comes and says, "Your children were feasting when suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert and struck the 4 corners of the house. It collapsed on them and they are dead. I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you." Job gets up. He tears his robe and shaves his head as signs of mourning. Then he falls to the ground in worship and says, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." Do you hear this? Job is still loving God. He doesn't sin by charging God with any wrongdoing. Job loves God, not because of what he gets from God, but because of who God is. What about you? Do you love God?